Bugs. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they take away all the fun. Love 'em or hate 'em, bugs are things intrinsically tied to the Warframe experience. And there is no better example of that than when the game rolls a new big content update or introduces a new feature. Beasts of the Sanctuary is both of those things, so there is no better time to talk about these beloved thingies than today. I'm Deuce, and thanks in advance for watching. Now, the new update brings forth two main attractions. The first one is the Warframe Korra, announced back on November 2017 and being the only Warframe that we know of to get a rework before it was released. The second is the Sanctuary Onslaught, a game mode that appears to have nailed the community's cry for challenge and endgame-ish rewards, at least for the time being. Now, what does these two things have to do with bugs, you ask? Well, let's start with our Lady of the Cat, Korra. Now, chances are that you've seen 1 or 10 videos talking about her already, so let me throw my 10 cents to the pond of Korra opinions. Her first ability is like Gara's first, but with a horrible hit detection. The fact that range doesn't scale its radius makes it all the worse, and good luck trying to hit something with it if these things are hung thanks to her Strangle Dome. The more they ragdoll and wiggle in the air, the harder it gets. When you see people actually giving advice on how to accomplish this on a third-person shooter, you know this ability is really messed up. Korra's second is like Nidus' second, but without all the things that make the latter function the way it does. Let's go over it, shall we? First of all, there is the whole delay thing for trapping enemies after using the ability. It's like a nerf before the nerf was needed, some sort of nerfception. Why is there a need for a delay when the ability clearly only grabs one enemy at a time? Isn't this enough? It also needs to have a waiting period in between? Not to mention that enemies grabbed by the trap stay controlled for, I'd say, not the time it says on the timer. There is no clue as to why, since the description of the ability itself says nothing of the sort. Also, there is this thing where if you stagger an enemy, it will break the ability. The enemy in question will no longer be controlled. Also, sometimes the trapped enemy will remain as trapped even when moving, which won't let you target them with the ability again. Not to mention the fact that the aforementioned description says that hitting the trapped enemy with the whip will make the trap disperse. Disperse means, when used as a verb, to distribute or spread over a wide area, not dispel or make the whole thing go away. Venari is a beautiful Kavat that really frustrates you, just like a real cat. I mean, this is a beast that deals impact damage. Let that sink in. Tooth and Claw, dealing impact damage with no bleeding since it has little to no status effect, and again, it's impact damage. That is space logic in a nutshell. Its attack mode, it's alright. Now, the others, well, defense mode defends you from one enemy at a time, and a horde shooter, one enemy disarmed and knocked down. Again, space logic. Heal mode is good, but Venari's AI isn't. When you need it the most, the Kavat is miles away. This is essentially leaving the Warframe's survivability mechanic to the whims of an AI that, let's face it, it's not that good. One of the reasons why Pets 2.0 are coming. The fact that Venari is not close to you at all times, either on defense or heal mode, is something I don't understand. Strangle Dome, Korra's fourth, is her best ability in my opinion. Still, it has its issues. Really good CC, especially when modded for range and duration, and as long as it works, because sometimes it decides not to grab an enemy, similar to what happens to Vauban's repelling Bastille augment. Also, the casting is clunky to say the least, since the direction of the deployable is not determined by the place you're aiming, but the direction the Warframe itself is facing, which makes everything very confusing. Also, enemies, instead of approaching the dome, will start shooting at other enemies trapped by it. This in turn keeps them away from its grab range, with the exception of the infested and other melee units, which defeats the purpose of the grab function, or maybe it's another nerf before the nerf is actually needed. I honestly don't know. Overall, I feel that this Warframe is unfinished. The fact that all that I pointed out are not grievances with her kit, well, mostly, but in turn are examples of the abilities not working properly is, in my opinion, evidence of my initial statement. A Warframe announced 6 months ago, and with a rework, let's say 2 months in the making, shouldn't have so many dysfunctionality issues. And I'm not even arguing why her second ability is basically a watered down version of her fourth, or why there is no synergy other than if it's trapped, hit it with the whip, it'll do more damage. Korra needs more iteration. And yes, a rework has been announced, but this defeats the purpose of having done the first one at all. And getting her in this form is inexcusable, a buggy frame to say the least. The most annoying part is that Korra's concept is amazing. I mean, if a cat-loving, chain-producing, sassy dominatrix doesn't tickle your fancy, I honestly don't know what will. When everything functions properly, this is a fun frame to play with. And I'm sure that after her rework, she will be really good. Because even now, she kinda is. Again, as long as everything works properly. So the reason why we got her in this state after so much time in development is something I can't wrap my head around. Now let's talk Onslaught. To say that its introduction has been a little bumpy is an understatement. A big one. I'm not going to go over all the bugs and issues. If you want to subject yourself to that, then simply go through the forums or just play the mode with friends or in public. The bugs are plenty, so let me share mine, which made me quit. Literally. Quit. Not because I was angry or frustrated, no. The screen froze, I couldn't Alt F4 or Control Alt Delete, I had to manually shut down my computer and restart it in order to get back into the game. Least of my worries was the fact that I had lost all of my rewards, which included 2 of the new Vandal parts. A client of mine wrote that this mode is more broken than PoE on release day. Now I personally don't know if that's actually factual truth, but when someone asks what to expect from this new game mode and the answer is bugs, you know it's not okay. It's been sort of a policy for DE to release something as soon as it's ready to go. Fix later, get it done, get it out. This helped the game big time back in its early years, since the constant flow of new content helped it remain relevant. Today, the situation is different, and this approach is no longer viable, in my opinion. If there are 3 criticisms you always hear about Warframe, these are the new player experience, the grind, and the bugs. The latter stems from the policy I explained earlier. Releasing something as soon as it's done, it means that there was no time to properly test it, polish it. So these new releases, especially the big ones, are playable, yes, but barely. In today's context, Bugframe hurts rather than helps, in my opinion. People have expectations about this game. It's a great experience, so as players, we expect the new content to build on it from day one, not 2 weeks after tons of hotfixes. In any game, release windows are crucial. In a game like Warframe, this is no exception, but instead of the game's actual release window, it's the big content updates. The ones that bring players back and lures in new ones looking for something new. If these things aren't working properly, then these players go away. They don't stay. Not everyone has the patience or time to wait for fixes. Every time a new feature is introduced, there are 2 things you can definitely say it will have. Those are balance issues and bugs. Eidolon, Tombs of the Sentient, and Beasts of the Sanctuary are prime examples on these. When in a co-op game, the co-op experience has problems, the game itself has problems. And yes, devs will bust their badonkadonks to fix them as soon as they humanly can. But by the time that's done, the damage is also done. Bugframe hurts Warframe. Not so long ago, I made a video talking about why spending more time developing new content was good. But now the new update is here, and it's the same old, same old. I personally believe this needs to change. The game is a wonderful experience, 2,000 plus hours in it, and I still don't get bored. I want more. DE is oftentimes lauded because of its pro-consumer approach, and rightly so. One of, if not the best free-to-play experience on the market that in some aspects puts big AAA titles to shame with its amazing gameplay, lore, and endless hours of fun. But one thing that is not very pro-consumer is the fact that every time a new big thing gets added, it comes plagued with issues, and we players get to play Bug Hunter instead of the game we all know and love. If Warframe is to grow to its fullest potential, which it can, Day 1 implementation needs to be forefront and center. And this is especially paramount with the next big things, the Sacrifice and the Plains of Venus. Developing anything is hard, let alone something as incredible as Warframe. It takes time and iteration. But I think this community and this game deserves better when it comes to new updates. Expecting something to be perfect from the get-go is unrealistic, yes. but expecting something more than just playable isn't. For my part, this is all for today. I apologize if I sounded a little ranty. I don't know if that word exists, but I needed to talk about these issues, share them with you. If you enjoyed this video or you found it interesting, please consider giving it a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more Warframe content and follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with everything. Again, thank you very much for watching. Whatever you are, have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.